Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, we have our next prompts and I've started mucking around with mine because I wanted to get it to a stage where I wanted to show you my plan for these hexy squares, these quilted elements. But first of all, the prompt of course is vintage Christmas image. This is an image that I got on a panel. There was heaps on this panel and I've cut one out and plan to use that. At the moment I've just turned it under, ironed it down so that it gets a nice clean edge, and then I'll do some stitching on it and embellish him accordingly. And in behind I just laid some selections of fabrics from my red range. So I then went and just did some invisible stitches, so everything is attached, which shoots me forward about 20 minutes to show you this idea. Now, it's not my idea as such. I first spotted this on a YouTube channel called The Last Homely House. Now, Kate, who runs that channel, she went to a quilt fair in the UK a couple months ago, and she was just walking through the crowd filming some of the artists and some of the entrants in this big quilt competition. And there was one quilt that caught my eye. I thought it was just amazing and it just sent my head in spins, and I've been waiting for the right time to incorporate the technique in one of my slow stitch pieces, and this is it. So if you want to check it out, I'll link the video in question below, and if you go to 15 minutes and 15 seconds, it is right there. She is filming through a heap of quilts and there's just slow images of all these quilts coming up on the screen, and at that 15 minutes and 15 seconds you'll see the one that caught my eye. Now what it is English paper piecing, which we all know and we've tried at some point in our creative careers. You either love it or you hate it. Kate does a lot of it. Like, she's working on one in the background of a lot of the videos for the last 2 years, maybe longer, with 1 inch template, cutting out the paper and covering it with the fabric and then slip stitching all of these elements together. It's laborious. It takes forever. It's not for me. But I do it from time to time as features in things. And I've always done it just like that. So it's a case of create the piece, a little element, whether it's on a tag in the Anne competition, the Anne Brooks project we did year before last, where we did hexagons on one of those tags in the 52 tag project. So when I saw this image pop up on this channel, what it was is the quilt. It wasn't a quilt you'd use every day. It was a wall hanging. The quilt featured the fabric and the paper. And as you know, that they're made from thousands of paper hexagons covered as a template. So what the artist had done at this UK Expo is she had featured the paper. So I sort of thought about it, and she just used magazines and things like they normally do. So I thought about it and I thought, well, what if I was to feature some of the beautiful papers I received in a paper pack probably 18 months ago from Rachel, and I've been hoarding it and I haven't used any of it. I've bought a few packs and I'm just hoarding them, and I thought, what a beautiful way to showcase the papers in a different way other than a journal. So I went through that paper pack and I selected some random book pages. So I've got some handwritten script, some very old paper, the cloth paper that she calls, what does she call it, rag paper. And then I've also bought from her a pack of Florentine paper, which I've used none of. But I have now, I've pulled out some red and cut myself out 2 hexagons in the paper, then covered them with my fabrics, stitched them together like you would, and then normally you would then remove the paper and chuck it in the bin, and that becomes your quilt. So the plan is to leave the paper in and build it into my panel this week. So old-fashioned Santa, old-fashioned hand sewing style, and then I'll go back through my panels in behind and do my usual embellishing, some different stitches and things. So what I want to do in today's video is show you what I've done so far with the paper piecing side of the project. Laying down these patches is same. I've done it 100 times, and I thought I'm not going to waste video time on that today. I'm going to get straight into this decorative piece that I want to create. So I pulled out a beautiful old book page from my kit that I got from Rachel, and I cut out these hexagons, number 1 and 2, and I just positioned the template where the text was quite interesting. I haven't done anything with this little guy yet. I just picked him because he was a different colour. I don't think I'll need him. That's the piece of Florentine paper. So beautiful, matches 1, 2, matches beautifully. And the pack that I've got in here are some blues that I'll be able to use on my blue piece, whatever that may be. This is some of the rag paper, and then this one I picked out because it had this on the front and this handwritten page on the inside. So I've tried to keep down to the bottom here so I can trim it off and still use it in the future. But then I thought, well, I could do with a couple more. So I'm going to show you what I did. I've decided on this piece up here. Not only does it have the date 1907, but you can see whoever wrote this has written this name and then crossed it out and wrote another name underneath. So I thought that's quite interesting. I'm going to use this particular hexagon and create another one. So I'm just going to cut it out now. I can't believe I'm hoarding this paper. It's crazy. I've started over the years building my own packs of books of paper that, you know, I can pull from, and I'm slowly finding some really cool books, but it's taken a while because our country is just not old enough. And any you do find are so expensive. So it's been a very slow process. I have to pick up books that are really damaged, and they're pretty much happy just to get them off their bookshelf. So, but I've got a couple now. My William Shakespeare book was probably the first one I picked up at an antique market, which I'm using quite a lot. Now, the next piece I want to do is I want to take this little one. It's a beautiful piece of ephemera. Look at that shadow. Sorry guys, it's in the afternoon. I'm better off filming in the morning when I don't get this shadow, so I do apologize, but I really wanted to get this video filmed and up ready for Saturday because it's Thursday afternoon here, so that tonight, being Thursday night, I can get stitching. So I thought if I don't stop and film, I will be cruising along and not have a video. So that's why Thursday afternoon I've come into the room to at least get this sorted and shown to you, so then I can just start embellishing. So there's my next 2 hexies, and as you can see, by the fact that we're getting paper as the feature more so than the fabric, just opens up just so many possibilities of what we could use as paper. And being it's a slow stitch piece, it's never going in the wash, it's going into a book. It's perfect. It sort of inspires me to actually do a wall hanging where the paper is exposed and the fabric is less important, and then maybe that's a way of saving some of these treasures. I don't know, just putting it out there as maybe a potential project, but you know, one needs to remind herself what it is like to stitch these things together. It takes forever. So I'm digressing here. Let me just show you my hexie pack. Now, I have somewhere in this craft room different templates to cut out all sorts of quilting bits and pieces, but I've packed them away and I cannot find them. And I've been hoping I stumble on them to get my 1-inch hexagon to do this at some point in the near future, which didn't happen. But I was at Hervey Bay and in my favoritist fabric shop, Dewdrop Inn, and I saw this little kit, and it was great because it gave me the 3 sizes, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 3/4 inch. So I grabbed it and I thought, oh, well, for the small amount of money it was, I think it was $6.95 or something. It wasn't a lot of money. I think I'm right with that. I better check before. No, there's no price, but it wasn't much. So Easy is the brand. Now, I didn't realize at the time, but it came with these, which I thought, wow, what a great idea, because normally you would draw around your shape and then have to cut a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. That's what all my other templates are like. You're on your own when it comes to cutting the fabric. But this gives us not only a template to use for the paper part, but it now gives us templates for the fabric. So if you don't own any hexagon shapes and you're thinking of trying this and you are new to it and not used to sort of cutting out the fabrics, for example, with that 1/4 inch seam that gets turned over, this is the kit. Now you're probably all looking at it, the experts in the quilting world, going, oh yeah, that's been around for years and we always use it. Well, I'm slow to the party and I've just found it and I cannot believe what this offers. So all I do now is once again just cut out the shape. I am being a bit cheeky there. I haven't quite got the width of fabric I need for it, but it won't matter. It will not matter because we can sort of sneak it around those corners with a bit of folding. So that's one. And then I've got another scrap here ready for the next one. Okay. Hope my husband's TV's not too loud in the next room, if you're wondering what those voices are. We have some friends that have flown to Chicago to attend a huge pinball convention. And there's someone walking around that convention right now. I think it goes for 4 days. And they've touched down in Chicago from Australia. And someone's walking around with the camera at the conference, and my husband's just watching it now to see if he can spot our mates in the crowd. But there's thousands of people there, not to mention hundreds of blooming pinball machines. Like I've said in the past, they're not my thing, but he's watching that in the next room, so I hope it doesn't cause too much noise, because I would hate for pinball to interfere with the serenity of slow stitch. That just would not be on, would it? Those crazy noisy things they are. Okay, so I've got my 2 patches, and the plan is, I'm pretty happy with its position about there, but I think I need another one here. I think I was fiddling around with it, thinking I needed one there and maybe one up there just to sort of balance it. Whether I need another one out here, possibly, but we'll get to that. At the moment, I just want to get these 2 made so that you guys can see the lunacy of this brilliant idea. So what you do now, I might zoom in just a little bit, just so you... There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, Rachel, I hope you're watching this video and seeing the crazy idea that I'm using your papers for. So now I'm not fast at this because I haven't literally made thousands of them. And you can use an iron to crease your papers too. But what I'm going to do, just as a bit of a cheat, is I'm going to put a couple dobs of glue in there to hold my paper so that it doesn't wriggle. Then I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue as I fold these edges over just to hold it. Now, the quilters often use a glue stick. This one here, I've seen a lot of them use in their videos, which has got like a jelly sort of wind out edge. it glues paper down nicely and it washes out. But I'm just going to use art glitter glue because this is not going near a washing machine. I'm going to finger press that. I will come back with my iron and really make sure that's nicely creased so I get a nice crisp edge. Okay, the other technique they do is they sort of prepare these so that that piece stays where it is. They run a tacking stitch around the edge of the hexagon. Now if you look over here where my little finger is, see that tacking stitch? I did that as not so much part of the process, but more part of the look of the process, if that makes sense. Because when you have a look at that quilt that's on that video, you'll see that the artist who made that panel actually did that. And I thought, well, being slow stitch, that'll look really nice if I run that tacking stitch around. So I did do that. Then after I did that row, I thought, oh, I'll just stop because I can use that tacking stitch to actually hold these down in place on my panel. So I will unpick that and redo it and use it as not only a feature, but use it as my way of attaching them to my panel. I hope that makes sense. I sort of got ahead of myself once I stitched them. I'm like, oh wow, that looks amazing. Oh, hang on, I could use that to actually hold them in position. So that's the theory behind still using the tacking stitch, even though I put a few dobs of glue here on this little guy to hold it in position. Okay, now I've just finger pressed all this. And like I said, I will run an iron over it just to get those nice sharp crisp edges. So that's pretty much it. My little piece is ready. I can see the beautiful paper in underneath. Isn't that just beautiful? Oh my goodness. Oh, just love it. Couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm like, oh, of course, the back of the quilt, the formation of the quilt is just as beautiful as the front of the quilt. And that's just, oh, just, anyway, I'm getting all gushy. All right, so now this little guy, I'm going to attach in there like that. So let's do the next one. And once again, paper is the feature. A couple little dobs of glue just to hold that where we want it so that it doesn't wriggle. We're going to see the date of the paper in this. Isn't that just, imagine some of the paper that have stamps on it out of Rachel's kits. If you're lucky enough to have one of her paper kits, there's some ephemera in amongst them that have stamps from Italy. Maybe I need to go hunting out for a red stamp on a piece of ephemera and cut out a hexagon. Ooh, that might be interesting. I know there's a lot of greens and blues. Whether I've got a little red one, I don't know. I can't believe I'm using some of the paper. Mind you, it's the tiniest of hexagons. I've been hoarding it, absolutely hoarding it. I'm like, why am I doing that? I should use it. I might pull some out for Christmas. Use some in some Christmas work. Oh, I don't know. I can't commit to that. But I'm happy to chop it up into hexagons. Isn't that crazy? Crazy, crazy girl. So that's now secure. So we rip around this edge as well. Yeah, this prompt threw me for a little bit, I must admit. I was watching the video at some ungodly hour last night. And I thought, oh, Christmas image. Then I remembered I had this panel with all of these different Christmas images I'm actually in the process of creating some journal kits for you all for my Etsy store with everything you need to make a project that I've got planned for November. So last week I was cutting them all up, and I've got a little stash here of the remaining pieces that I didn't end up using. So I did have some panels, so yeah, it wasn't too hard. What will be tricky is the blue one, because I just don't have anything blue. So whether I have a go at printing some on some freezer paper, I don't own freezer paper, I'd have to try and find some, or I can come up with another idea. Oh, that's so gorgeous. I'm going to put that guy up there. He can be my feature one, I think. That little fellow. Now, do I need another one? I think I do. I think that up there could easily be one. So maybe, so I've got two. Let's do another red one, because I'm thinking they're my favorite, and there's a lot of script. Let's get this up a little bit so you can see. There's a lot of script and floral treatment just here. So I get my pencil. I've got a red work slow stitch book on the go, which I've been working at for years. Whenever I feel in the mood for a little red, I might pop this paper in there and do a little bit more work with these hexagons, because I have a feeling they're going to be in my system for a little while. I wish I could find all the hexagons I own. Oh, I tell you, you tidy up, then you can't find anything. Okay. That's just gorgeous. Now, what colour fabric will we put around it? I'm thinking that one. So let's just, whoops, don't use that as a guide. Use this template as a guide. So an update on the journals. If you've been following my little series of all of the journals for charity, I got the list today, and there are a lot of people on that list. We've got enough journals. I do need to rally the girls together. Where's my fabric pen gone? I do need to rally the girls together, because I sort of felt, I had a feeling all year as I've been working on these 21 journals that I'd probably only need about 8, but I've worked through them with the girls from time to time, and just myself, getting the 21 journals ready. But I was looking at the list, and I think I counted probably 30 odd, but that's going down to as young as 11 and those sorts of ages, which we wouldn't need to. Let me just show you the list. I'm digressing here again. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'm making a heap of journals for a charity group that put them in a Christmas hamper. It's run by my friend's work. Now, she's a teacher within Catholic education. She's a teacher of teachers. So Marianne this afternoon sent me the list. So there's 2 pages. So that's what we get. And that tells us the name of the person, which I'll just cover for a moment. The name of the person and their age. And sometimes we get a like or a dislike. So maybe a hint, likes cars, things like that. So what we do is we start with the first one, and I can keep the names off screen there. A 50-year-old female, there's a male, a 23-year-old female, a 21-year-old female, and a 16-year-old female, and then a 2-year-old. So in this list, I would say there's 1, 2, 3, 4 definite journals that we can take from our pile that we've been making all year and add to the hamper going to these ages. So family number 4, we got a 25-year-old and a 5-year-old female. So there's only one journal there. So that's pretty much what we do. We've got 7 families there, and then there's another list of more. Or are they the same? Is it the same list? And she sent it to me twice. Just have a look. Yes, it is. Oh, gosh. It is. It is. I thought it was 2 lists, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I'm going to need 30 plus journals. But I don't. I'm digressing here. Sorry, guys. I've got so many projects on the go. I'm going to now flip to this one briefly. So family number 1, we've got a 50-year-old female, a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So that's 4 journals for family 1. Family 4, because I think they group them all, and there might be 100 families, and each group of people, like Marianne's work, can pick so many to support, and they make the hampers for this family based on these ages. So family 4, we've got one female there. Family 5, we've got a 31-year-old, so that's a definite journal, a 24-year-old, a 12-year-old, and an 11-year-old. So I'm going to put 2 journals there, but circle them as a maybe. The 6th family, we've got a 61-year-old, and the rest are boys. Likes anything cat related. Ooh, I'll have to do something with that journal. 7th family group, we've got a 2 girls and a boy and a 7-year-old. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 definite journals, and 2 that, if we want, might be okay for the young ones. So yeah, that's how the project goes basically. We've got our list. We've got 10 journals needed, maybe 12. So if you're wondering what the hang is she talking about, go back through my playlist and you'll see the whole project playing out. And we started earlier in the year working to get these journals all made. So boy, when I opened those 2 attached files, I thought that it was 2 lists, but it's not. She sent them in 2 formats. It's the same list sent twice. So phew, I thought, my goodness, I've got 21 journals on the go. They're nearly finished. Probably a good day's work on them to finish them. Get those girls around here and get going on them. And I thought, oh gosh, they're all going to go in the 1 year. We'll have none for next year spare, because we thought we'd make extra this time just so that we had spare. But we do, so it's all good. It's all good. Okay, let's go again. Finger pressing this little guy around. I'm not even on camera. Oh, what a hot mess. I so want to do some stitching tonight. I've been really lazy the last week and a half. Hardly stitched a thing. I've sort of had a bit of shoulder pain. I think it's from so much stitching personally, but we won't say that out loud. Told my husband I just laid crooked in bed and got pins and needles, and that's what's given me a bit of shoulder pain, which I honestly thought it was, but I did this little bit of stitching this morning where I joined these hexagons, and that pain's back. So I think I've got RSI in the shoulder from hand sewing. No, it can't be. Just ignore it. It had to be the way I laid in bed. Okay. So I've actually had like a week off from stitching. Been busy working on putting together some Christmas kits for Christmas projects and things like that coming up. I know it's only October, but I need to just get in and get it done, because I'm starting to get busy at work, my day job, and I'd hate to say I'm going off air because I'm just too busy. That just would not do. This is my relaxation, my sanity. I can't not have that. So it just means I need to be organised. And now these journals for charity need to be completed. I think they've got to be done by I think they pack the hampers mid-November, so we're cruising. Just a day with all the girls and a couple hot chooks or barbecue chickens for those in America that don't know what a hot chook is. Pretty sure you would, but that's what we call them here. Hot chooks, some coleslaw and some bread rolls, a couple tomatoes. We are ready for a day of journal making. Finish them all off. We'll get our production line going. Look at that. Oh. So that little guy's going to go there. Okay, so I think that's all the hexies I need. Now what I want to do is thread up a needle. This is the most laborious part. And oh, hats off to any of you that have made a quilt with itty bitty hexagons. Like, I love them. I think they're just so sweet. But oh boy. So what you got to do is lay one on top of the other with the right sides together. If you were quilting it, the fabric would be together. But being that our right side is the wrong side, the paper, I'm going to now just whip stitch. Gosh, I need to take my glasses off. Can't see for looking. I'm just going to do lots of little itty bitty stitches. Oh gosh, imagine doing this. Once I get this out of my system, that might be the end of hexagons. I doubt it. I think they're going to appear again. I'm going to put some on that blue bunting advent calendar version of my stitchery project, I think. Just got to work out an image to work around. I know we can, if you don't have an image, we can find a picture and use that as our inspiration. So that opens up lots of possibilities. But oh, now I've lost my end and I need to thread it, so I need to put the glasses back on. Glasses back off. I've got transitional glasses for 3 zones, but stitching hexagons seems to be a 4th zone. Can you imagine my optometrist if I go back to him and say, I now need glasses with 4 visual zones, and the new zone is for hexagons? He rolled his eyes when I told him that I had at least 3 zones, 1 to see oncoming traffic, zone 1 for reading or looking at an iPad in my lap, zone 2, and then a close-up zone where you might want to thread a needle. But for some reason, stitching hexagons seems to be in its very own zone. I think a lot of it's got to do with where my hands are for filming. If I was at the optometrist, I'd pull my hands closer to me, now out of shot, and they'd be fine with glasses. But because my hand's forward so that you guys can see, that's the zone or the area that my focal isn't. So I believe that's the issue. So technically I need 8 zones. No, we won't worry about oncoming traffic while filming. But we could probably do with a couple zones for this area out here. Oh gosh. Okay, glasses back on. Okay, so there is my extra hexagon. Now just knot that again. I've been thinking a little bit too about the cover of my journal. I haven't yet, so I'm going to just turn that over to there, pick that up and get ready to stitch. So yeah, the cover to this red journal hasn't yet found a creative element yet. So I was looking through all this red fabric to do with this book, and I found the words, where is it? Special delivery. Hang on a minute, let me grab it. This here, that there, that came from the stocking that I cut out that from. Remember, it was the stocking that had this image at the bottom, and at the top of the stocking was that. So I've trimmed it up so that now it's ready to go. So there's the stocking bit, that's the back, and we've nibbled out the reindeer that was here and the words that were here, and that's what's left. So my thought is piecing some fabric in behind to create the background like I did here, and then using those words on that panel as my feature piece, and then layering in lace and stitches on top. So at the moment, that's the plan for my cover. I have been holding back a little bit, waiting for a prompt that inspired me, and for a little while the Christmas tree was going to be it. But it's so full of bling and dangly bits that I think it's going to be quite annoying to slide in and out of a bookcase shelf. So I had planned on using that. Then I thought, oh, the snowman would be good. But I ended up putting sticks on their bodies for their arms. So now there's another obstacle for sliding in and out of the bookcase. So the plan now is to create just an embellished, heavily stitched, no dingle dangles, to go on the front of my journal for the red. So if there's time, after I'm finished stitching this hexagon, I might lay down some base fabrics like I have with this, and then tonight I can stitch that as well. So I'm going to try and do two. I had thought of doing an envelope for the front as well, so that's definitely not out of the question, but once again it is something that may interfere with sliding in and out of a bookcase, so I'm still thinking about that. So I do have an envelope pre-made from a video I did earlier in the year called the Maddie envelope, Scrappy Maddie envelope. That's where I scrappied together heaps of lace to create the envelope, and then I used it as something to hold a gift for Maddie, a cousin who was going overseas to become an ambulance driver. I'm sure you've heard this story already. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a video. Anyway, I made two. I made one for myself and then one for Madison for her little pendant. Oh, this paper piecing is not the easiest. So long story short, mine has been rattling around the place with no home. It's just there. And I took it away with a heap of craft stuff one weekend, for whatever reason, I can't remember now. And the bloomin' glue bottle oozed, and it went over the one corner of my little scrappy envelope. Now I spent hours picking this craft glue off of all of the lace that's on this thing, but it's sort of, I can still feel it on that one corner. So you run your hands over the thing and it's really, let me show you. This is the envelope. Okay, and in here, this actually went to my mum with a bracelet inside a couple Christmases ago. So when I was cleaning out her cupboard, because she passed away at the beginning of the year, this envelope popped up. And I thought, oh, I'll take that home. That's a gift that's come back to me. Well, it's been rattling around in my craft room, and in the process of taking it away, some glue oozed on this corner here. So I can sort of feel here that it's, hear that? There's glue deep into that doily there and on this edge. Oh, so annoyed. I couldn't believe it. So I thought maybe, because this side's perfect, I thought maybe of stitching that into my journal. So there's my envelope. It's now found a home, and it has special meaning because I made it for my mum, and it's actually now returned back to me. So I'm thinking of using this somewhere in my stitchery project, if not into something. But anyway, so technically, I guess the moral of the story is I have an envelope. Can I work it into this project? Probably. Could it go on the cover? Probably. Technically, it has blue on the inside, so it should really be connected to the advent calendar. But it sort of doesn't suit that. The cover on the advent calendar is already sorted. Oh, but maybe we could redesign that, because I made a general panel. Let's get this hexagon finished, because I'm about to put it down and go off again. I just had an idea. Maybe wouldn't it be nice to open my advent calendar every year and that envelope greets me with that little memory? So let's just get this hexagon finished. This is why I'll never do a hexagon quilt, because I have the attention span of a gnat, and by the time I got one hexagon stitched, I'd be off starting something else. So it's best I not. I can hear Casper at the door of the craft room meowing. He's like, why is the door shut? I want to come in. Okay, so now I'm just going to knot that off. And that is going to go there. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it. So then I'll just pop a few pins in just to hold that. Yeah. Oh, if you can see that, it might come back out. There we go. Just straighten up a little bit. So done. Now it's time to stitch it and embellish, and yeah, ready to go. And I'm featuring those papers from Rachel. Look at them. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. All right, now my idea. How can I use this envelope? So what I'm thinking is, if we just have a look at this. Now, if I remember rightly, I did a general page at the front here with this little bird, Winter Wonderland. And this guy doesn't actually have a number. This is just the first page of the book. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove this out of here. Okay. Bear with me, guys. I've got an idea. And my first general page is not going to be this one. This can go up as a piece to hang, or can it? No, I can't, because it's bigger. Look, it's bigger. So hold the phone. That has to stay. So maybe here's another idea. So I can't use that as a number, what are we up to? Those guys are number 7. So that would be number 8, this week's prompt. Can't do it because the lace hangs past the book, which means the number 8 panel that sits over it would not hide all the dingle dangles. Hence why I went a bit further with all of this trim. But that's okay, because if this is the journal with the wrap holding it all together, which is embellished and embroidered, what's stopping me on the inside here having the envelope? Why not? Then maybe the envelope could hold something to do with the bunting. Maybe we put in there the cord that I'm going to use to attach these two to hang it up in the house. The cord sits in there, the envelope closes. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, guys. The inside lining of my slow stitch wrapped piece that seals it all up will have an envelope inside. There we go. Done. I love it. There you go. So I still haven't worked out a prompt for 8 this week for this one, so I will do that in the next video because I'm going to run out of time. I must say that I have this doily rattling around that I haven't done anything yet. So maybe, no, that's not exactly a vintage inspiration, is it? Does it matter? Would that be? I don't know. Maybe the girls will bring out bauble in the coming weeks. Maybe I save that. I don't know. Anyway, let's just focus on one thing at a time, which is this piece. And as for the panel that has the 25, we've got 15 minutes left, so I might just move this because it's now ready to stitch. I did pull some lace out to potentially embellish this as well. I don't know, we'll see. I might not. I might just keep it very much to stitches and the hexies, I'm thinking. Yeah, let me just slide that out of the way so that can be worked on. And let's have a look at this panel here, which is going to be the start of my cover. So now there was some fabric I haven't played with yet that I really wanted to. I haven't done anything with this red or that, not too much. And I also spotted this and I thought maybe there's some floral in there that could be embroidered on the cover. But because it's a 2-inch wide strip, you've got to be pretty lucky to get a flower where you need it. There's one. So there's an opportunity to maybe take that. Is it special enough? I sort of feel like I want to do something really busy and crazy. With these fabrics, but I just don't know. I might need to think about this a little bit more, guys. Oh, I love that, but I just really want to embroider those and then put some little berry beads on there. So if I pull that down, maybe put that across the top, that there. Let's just cut that. Making a decision. bring that into there. So we can get two strips. I think the paisley's out. Just seem to be competing too much. Let's just focus on this. So if I center that and center that, then we embellish it. I've left the stuffing on that's behind this piece. It was with the actual, I might just trim it down a fraction. It was with the stocking when I cut it off, goodness me, cut it out. But I think I want to use it because it's going to give a nice padded feel. So I thought might be a bit of fun. So let's get that underneath. And then maybe I can go hunting through some lace and find some trims to frame this a little bit, like like a photo frame would be edging it. Maybe an option. I can't see any lace at hand. What's in that basket? Nothing jumping out at me. I think these are all going to be too wide, but this one here caught my eye because it's flowers. It could be, oh yeah, I'm loving that. Okay, so I'm going to move this down. I'm going to move that down. I still want to see the frayed edge of that calico, and because it's bigger, the cover is bigger, yeah, that is going to go there. Oh, I love it. Now there will be other elements. This is just a starting point, but I'm thinking that is going to go right there. Now I'm going to cut it. Decision made. How pretty is that? Okay, so we'll put that away. And maybe I can find some smaller somethings to come up those sides. We will see. Maybe there's something in my box of tricks. Yeah, I'm loving that. I'm just glancing across the table at my lace stash and I can't see anything jumping out at me. Just 1 second, I'm going to grab one more box and I need to let this cat in. He's meowing. Hey, Casper. Yes, Casper, he wants his supper. So this is just random bits and pieces that I got gifted to me from a lady cleaning out her sewing room. And I'm wondering if there's something in her little stash here, like, I don't really want to use a synthetic-y modern thing if I can. It's got to feel a bit, yeah, I think something like that could be used. That was stitched on there. Liking that. I'm going to cut that off. Got plenty of homework tonight. Take that right to the edge. I don't even know if it's up the right way. We'll check that before I stitch it down. Very regal with those little... Oh, I need to shut that door. You can hear the pinball thing. Casper just shot out the door thinking he was going to get locked in here. That silly cat. Now he'll be back at the door meowing to come in. And you can probably still hear that voice. I'm so sorry. Told my husband I was going to go and film a video, but I wonder if he spotted our friends in the crowd. What else is in here? What's down there? Look at that. What is that? It's like loops you could use for buttons or clasps. How interesting is that? Oh, that's pretty. What have we got here? Yes. And that is going to go up there. And it can hang over a little bit too. Oh, I love them when they just come together. Okay, do I use the same piece on the other side? It's very girly. I think it needs to be a bit more random than that. What's that piece? Oh, it's gathered. I could probably remove that gathering stitch there. I don't mind that. And maybe that went under there. Or that went right through. That's another idea. If that went from top to bottom, or even underneath top to bottom. I like that better. Needs an iron. It must have been on something because there's a gathered thread. Can I pull that out? No, because it's machine stitched and I've got 2 threads. So let's take the effect of it being under my panel, like so. So that would give me a little edge to my book. And then I find another lace. What's that one? Oh, that's nice. Maybe this comes through as we were before, just as a finishing element. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to trim that there. Thank you, Random Box. You have given me all sorts of goodies. So this piece is, as per the other side, just a random frame. Okay. Just get it all pinned. How decadent. What a beautiful way to showcase some random laces doing this type of work. And then I can embroider, I can put some red little diamantes or something in there. Where's the cover? That will slide onto my cover. And then this piece, if we choose to use it, would sit underneath it all on one side, and it'd be the side that you'd turn. It's got possibilities. Oh, I love it. And that's before I've even looked too hard in my stash. Could probably even have something down the bottom there. If I pulled that piece up, let's say that that disappeared and the whole thing up again so that the red is the top, then that would give me all this landscape here to find even something else. So there's a lot of possibilities with this. Lots of possibilities. Okay, so that's where we're at with the cover. Let me just tidy up a little bit. We've come to the end of our time. I'm going to put that with it for now, and I better take that box of lace with me into the lounge room because I have a feeling I'm going to dig in there some more. So when I come back in the next video, I'll be able to show you what came of all of that and the work that I've done on the cover. I will also have a stitch of all of this and have it completed. And in the next video, I hope to have a plan for the prompt number 8 in the blue book. And as I mentioned, if you want to see, and I highly recommend you do, go to the Last Homely the Last Homely House, Kate's channel. The link will be down below. Go to 15 minutes and 15 seconds and you will see what inspired me to do this. The big piece that she took a brief photo of as it rolled through. It may appear somewhere else in the video as well, but that's where I know it definitely is for a split second. All right, everyone. I'll say goodbye. Enjoy your slow stitching and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.